Here at the BBC Television Archive there are 172,000 1-inch C format tapes, and that makes up about 12% of the total television holdings. After the success of the 2-inch quadruplex tape format, the BBC wanted to adopt a more compatible tape format, and so the 1-inch was created. Now there are 3 formats to choose from. The 1-inch Type A format was created by Ampex, but it was mainly used for industrial and educational purposes. The 1-inch Type B format, created by Bosch in 1975, offered segmented helical scan, but it didn't offer still frame and slow and fast motion capabilities. And so in 1976, Ampex and Sony got together to create the 1-inch Type C format, and that did offer still frame and slow and fast motion capabilities, together with 300 lines of resolution, and it did offer 4 tracks of audio, of which 1 was dedicated to timecode. The aim of this video is to show the basic operation and calibration of a 1-inch C format machine. And we've divided this video into several sections: calibration and machine setup, playback and operation, common problems, and additional information. We calibrate the waveform monitor using its internal 1-volt signal and adjust the square wave using a small screwdriver on the front panel. Right, the first thing we have to do with a 1-inch machine is clean the heads. That's after we've done the calibration. So you just get some head cleaner, spray it on the lint-free cloth and apply that to the heads. We're not moving the lint-free cloth anywhere. We're just turning the head drum like this. See what kind of dirt we get on there. There's quite a few bits on there. Spray a bit more. Now we clean all the other things like the audio heads, which are under this panel here. Now just get your finger in there and clean those heads there. And then cleaning anything else which is in the tape path. Okay, that's sufficient. Got the 1-inch already on here. So make sure that that is properly in, and that's held securely there, so it's not going to fly off when we start playing the tape. Round all these bits, around the head drum, making sure it's in there between the audio heads, up the top round there, and feed it through to the tape cup. Of course, with tape like this, you get a lot of tape damage. Well, at the start of a spool will be line up, so you're not really actually damaging any program material. Okay, so once that's done, press the ready button, make sure that the head's spinning, and press play. And we look on the waveform monitor and the vector scope to line up a 1-inch analog recording. So we adjust the black levels, making sure it's on the blank line there, down there. And the video levels, let's bring those down, making sure it's at the 100% peak line. And the chroma phase, using the vector scope. And also the chroma levels, using the waveform monitor, as well as the vector scope, making sure they're all in the little boxes. Then we adjust the diff gain, which is this knob here, and make sure that that's within spec, right about there. And then the audio levels, we need to make sure that the 1 kHz tone is on the PPM4, which is standard across the BBC. So we have audio on track 1 only, and timecode we have on, which is always on track 3. So make sure timecode's adjusted, that it's not going under and levels are not going over, otherwise it won't be able to read the timecode properly. So we need to get it within the green, which is there. Then we need to do a horizontal phase, which is this one down here. So we use a little tweaker and we move the knob left or right, making sure that the frame is accurate and we're not losing parts of the information of the tape. So there you go, that's accurate. Also notice that these boards here, which adjust picture quality, are easily accessible and they're not contained within the unit itself. You can pull a board out and adjust it and repair it if need be. And then once we've lined that up, we now need to make sure that it's the right program. It corresponds to the VTR-R, which is in the box of the 1 inch. I can shuttle through that, and as you can see, you can shuttle in vision there because it's 1 inch C format. And if we play, now we need to check program levels, which sometimes doesn't always correspond to the line-up levels on the tape. So we usually tend to ignore opening titles because levels are always changing in opening titles. So we actually use program material. And then again, we adjust the black levels, making sure it's okay. Video levels, making sure it's not going over 100%. And the same for chroma, that there's not too much chroma and you get a lot of chroma noise and it just is not happy. And chroma phase, which is quite important when we're doing transfers to digital. There we go, and that looks correct to me. Audio seems a little high, so I'll just adjust that again. And that looks correct. And then we do the transfer. And any faults that we find, we use a button here called Demod Out, and we can actually see any line dropouts on a tape. You'll see them as coming up as black lines. And we note down any faults that we find during transfers. There's quite a few line dropouts showing there.
At present, we are transferring the 1 inch material to Digibeta. The PAL signal is decoded using a specialist spectral decoder designed by the BBC Research Department at Kingswood, Warren. The first active line of Field 1 video contains data about the decoded signal, and this is shown as a line of small dots beneath the VITC. 1 inch audio is transferred as follows. For 1 inch mono tapes, the audio on track 1, the main program sound, are transferred to tracks 1 and 2 on the Digibeta tape. This is known as dual mono and ensures that the audio is stereo compatible. 1 inch track 2, which may have different audio on, is transferred to Digitrack 3 and 1 inch track 4 to Digitrack 4. The longitudinal time code from track 3 on the 1 inch is transferred to the DigiQ track. With stereo 1 inch tapes, tracks 1 and 2 are transferred respectively to Digitracks 1 and 2, and nothing is transferred to Digitrack 3. 1 inch track 4 sound is sent to Digitrack 4. The longitudinal time code from track 3 on the 1 inch is sent to the DigiQ track. We are now going to show you some common problems you may encounter with programs replayed from 1 inch C format videotape. They fall into two broad groups: faults that originated when the recording was made, and faults that occur in the replay of the 1 inch tape when transferring to an archive medium. The first type of fault can be split into dubbed faults and recorded faults. When the recording was made, there may have been problems with the source material, such as a camera fault, or a problem with the studio or remote feed, or the fault could have been copied from another videotape recording. Unfortunately, this type of dubbed fault cannot be fixed. It's also possible that a problem occurred in the videotape machine when the recording was made, such as a recorded head clog or a servo disturbance caused by a non-standard video source. There is a possibility that this type of fault may play back better on a different machine. The second type of fault is one that happens with the replay of 1 inch tape, and there is a strong chance that the fault can be corrected or improved. That might mean just replaying the tape 2 or 3 times to get a better reproduction, or playing the tape back on another machine. Either way, identifying the source of the fault is the key to achieving the best possible replay.
Here's Anna Maria, originally from Sicily. She works as a model pretty well all over Italy. She's 19 years old. for brown hair, brown eyes, and wiggles like the devil.
The remains of a cow were found near the point at which a train went off the rails last night.
Will price their own people out of jobs in the public sector and people in the private sector.
So rain will irrigate the soil rather than washing it away.
This with the help of military technology. Gosh, OK, let's put the lights on. Cool, that's better.
Bottom yard and the top yard, you get used to the crowd sort of being there and the tension doesn't sort of take over as much. But it's worse when you go on the top of the button.
To suppose they share that world, to think their sort is matched by something in it, and to have a job to fall back on.
It forces you to think about something other than yourself, something other than your own poems.
And his denunciation of both the style and direction of Mrs. Thatcher's government.
Time will depend on the children of the terror, orphan soldiers whose only school...
How they can become a powerful extension to your telephone, but not just for the kind of electronic mail we've just seen.
Not with you, no.
I wouldn't consider an affair. It'd be impossible.
Why?
I'm not married.
You single blokes never get any luck, do you, Harry?
What?
Yeah, but...
Now, the evening news on BBC One with Moira Stewart.
The sort of occasion where all the faces seem familiar for the simple reason that most of them are.
Must be free on that judgment day.
Back to rain by the morning and you'll find a thaw setting in. But a cold night to begin with, and the southeast certainly starting off cold even tomorrow morning. Some sunshine around again, I think, but not quite as...
I think it's the Irish scallop. Well, I don't, actually, but I'm choosing the Irish scallop.
Yeah, but Freud wouldn't know. No. Being in the Liberal Party.
Clement Freud. Well, the Liberal Party are very clear about that sort of thing.
That's the best round she's had in years.
2 submissions, 2 falls or a knockout to find out who's going to win all that computer equipment.
What about cafe owners?
And it's a series which started, I thought, very well.
And then it can be relaunched, and the Indonesians will have their satellite in working order.
Switch on, and the drum rotates, screwing itself gently sideways.
Norman St John Stevens says it's contemptible to suggest, as the Sunday Times does, that the Queen would use sources close to her to make her views known. And indeed, the report has been fiercely denied by the Queen's press secretary, Michael Shea. But the Sunday Times is insisting that it came from a highly placed source in Buckingham Palace who was fully aware of the political repercussions. We've just been joined in our central London studio by the editor of the Sunday Times, Andrew Neil. Mr. Neil, is it your understanding that the Queen actually authorised this leak of information to your paper?
I have no knowledge of the role of the Queen in this at all. I don't know whether the Queen authorised it, knew about it, or knew nothing about it at all. All I know is that our sources are in a position to know what's in the Queen's mind, and we're fully aware of what they were telling us and of the fact that we were going to publish it as a major international scoop.
And the value of the Japanese cherry, we get the double pink flowers in the spring. In the autumn, we get these marvellous colours.
It's a beautiful tree, isn't it?
Beautiful tree, that is.
Yeah.
And then, you see, it's interesting now to look at this. There are the buds coming, the fat buds, that will provide the double pink flowers in the spring of next year. So that's we've got to look forward to. So there we are, that's it. Well, now, while there's no pruning on this, there is some pruning to be done on the roses over there.
The principle and conviction triumphed over pragmatism. So the likelihood is that we shall go into this election with the Conservative Party having £2.75 million.
Climb in the closet.
Right there, but for the grace of God.
Like the roses everywhere.
It's a nice touch.
I have decided that it isn't fatal after all, and that with a little care and attention, I might just be as good as ever I was. Here's the Skittles.
And the shampoo.
Yes, that too.
You're going to regret this tomorrow.
Oh, hang tomorrow. I spent too much of my life worrying about tomorrow. City lights? Who needs them? They're well out of it. They play Skittles like it's the World Cup final.
You're out of touch.
Absolutely true. And you?
A veil of cloud will come over, and before morning you'll get some rain coming into southwest areas around midnight, and then these other southern counties.
And the outlook beyond that, well, still changeable.
Good afternoon to you.
Things are bad when he's talking about excess sunshine. Now our City Spot, and today Heather Payton reports on a new financial move by the filmmakers who brought you Gandhi.
For him to build a new government with Noriega still at large?
Oh, I don't see that would pose any problem. Noriega may be general, but he doesn't seem to have an army right now. Very anxious to start rebuilding the country. He's a very bright, capable man, and we're all behind him, and if need be, we'll sacrifice whatever we have to get this country going again.
Thank you, good evening to you. The women are taking over tonight. They are that Venus in wrinkled stockings, alias Nora Batty, from The Last of the Summer Wine, alias Kathy Staff, and that's her real name, and her stockings are not wrinkled.
Nice in here, really. Not much pain at all. And now the bucket will come out, the special sequin bucket, into which I am about to be poured. Okay, the bird, now! I think I've broken my contact lens. Thank you,
News coming in from phone calls. Mohammed Naeem, more sightings of him in Manchester, at least thought to be him. On the Manchester robber, 3 callers have given names for the man who robbed Cheshire Building Society back in January. And on the Tunbridge Wells rape, we've had really quite a large volume of calls giving police accounts of Peeping Tom incidents in that area and indeed further afield, which are very much welcomed by the investigating officer.